Hey everybody, it's Mike Free with On-Call Compliance Solutions, and I'm here today with the biggest questions that people ask in regards to getting CMMC certified. And the coolest part about that is that I'm actually here today, and I want to introduce a very special guest here in the studio with us. So live, we have Sese Bennett with Provincia Government Solutions, who is now a real, live, in the flesh, CMMC Certified Third-Party Assessor. And so that's right, you saw it here, right? We got Sese in the studio, and I caught a big one today, right? This is actually, I believe, maybe possibly one of the world's first live interviews with a real CMMC Certified Third-Party Assessor. I believe Sese maybe number 12 in the world. Is that about right?
Something close to that, yeah.
So very exciting as CMMC really starts getting kicked off, and certifications are really not very far away at all. Again, a lot of people kind of thought, getting CMMC certified was going to be this sort of fluky thing that just would never ever happen. But in fact, actually, it is beginning to roll out. So in all seriousness, though, we're super psyched to welcome you into the studio here. And we want to learn a little bit more about Provincia. We want to learn a little bit more about you. And we've decided to become one of the very first CMMC third-party assessors. So tell us a little about yourself, your company. I know you got a long history of assessing, but tell us a little bit about Provincia and what you guys do.
Sure. Well, Provincia Government Solutions, we are a firm that's focused on doing assessment work for the individuals and companies in the government space. So a lot of our work is around FSMA, is around the NIST 800-171, the NIST 853 standards. We've been doing this work for about 15 years now, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a number of highly trained subject matter experts that work on these engagements, and we're super excited to add the CMMC requirements to our portfolio of services that we can provide to clients.
Oh man, that's super awesome. So in all seriousness though, so now that you are officially a CMMC C3PAO, I have to ask the question, how into Star Wars are you?
Well, I knew about C3PAO before I entered into this program, and I have to say that the Star Wars C3PO is probably a lot more exciting than our C3PAO.
I bet. So cool. You can't help yourself, right? So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of the biggest questions. The cool thing is you guys, the audience, you guys helped us out. We asked you, hey, look, if you had a CMMC assessor and you asked them anything, what would you ask them? So we came up with a couple questions. Really appreciate everybody's feedback. Always love comments. So again, if you've got questions coming out of this video, please comment below. If you haven't yet, like the video, hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out. It lets us know we're doing the right thing. And of course, also, you can be the first one to stay tuned to new content as it comes out. So, Sese, one of the biggest questions that we're always asked, of course, is how much does it cost to actually bring in a CMMC assessor and get a company certified? So what do you think about that?
Well, the price is going to depend upon the size of the environment, really. We wish there was one set quote amount that we could quote for a CMMC assessment, but honestly, if you have a smaller environment, it shouldn't cost you a ton of money to get your environment assessed, which is a major misconception about the program. The smaller companies think that they can't qualify for the program because of cost, but in reality, it is something that should be affordable, and it's something that we're working together to make sure that organizations are this is something that can be afforded by organizations to reach that certification level.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've been talking a lot with Sese this afternoon as he's kind of visiting our office from home base in Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favorite places on earth. And I was talking about Sese, and we at On-Call, we have a micro company solution, right? So if you're like a really little business out there and you've got, say, 5 computers less, no servers, no complexity, and you're like, man, this is like a big, hairy, intense thing that I'm being required to do by law. I know that we're a little bit of a rare bird in the game in that we've come up with a truly affordable, fully comprehensive, done-for-you solution. Again, everybody loves it, and again, our mission is to help out the small businesses. One of the cool things I'm talking about, with Sese this afternoon is, hey, look, there are a lot of small businesses. I'm not going to kid you, been doing a little bit of elbow grabbing. I'm saying, hey, look, Sese, we got to find a way to make this affordable for the small businesses. And the really cool thing I think about this is when it comes to cost, Sese and I have been doing a little bit of information sharing. And in that information sharing, we've been kind of talking about what the process looks like. And I'm psyched because Sese and I really share a vision that the small businesses in the defense industrial base need help too. And I'm really proud to say that I think, a little bit of elbow twisting, a little bit of arm grabbing. I think the cool part is that I think that, Sese and his company at Provincia Government Solutions are going to be able to come up with a great solution for the smaller business. Obviously, they do the huge businesses. That's really their background, is doing big monster healthcare compliance. They're absolute experts, have an amazing team at that. But I think in terms of cost, that's one area we're really going to be heavily kind of, teaming up together as we help people to understand and get compliant. They help to come in and provide a great cost-effective methodology for getting certified. And we're really excited to be partnering with them in that. So cool. Another great question is, when will I be able to be certified? I know that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, as you may know, that the CMMC program is in sort of a period of time where they're going through rulemaking. So they're trying to finalize the requirements around the program. And that's expected to finalize sometime next year. But we also know that the CMMC AB is looking at a program that will allow organizations to voluntarily comply with the program. So we're hoping to see more on that in the next coming months. And hopefully there will be some incentive for some of these companies to go ahead and be early adopters of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so again, I think, the sort of, the big takeaway is not quite yet, but it's really going to come soon.
It's really close.
I think at the point at which we've got assessors now, that's a really big, massive step forward. Look, if you're one of our clients, we've got a whole program built around the idea of taking compliance, using it as a competitive selling advantage, leveraging being a more safe, secure defense contractor to do business with, and literally helping you to grow your business using that as a unique selling proposition. We're super excited about that. I think similarly, we all know, look, the first folks to adopt this are going to have something really exciting to be able to go and tell their potential client bases and their client bases. So, hey, look, we don't have an exact timeline. We know it's coming soon. But I do think it's going to be a huge competitive advantage for those companies that are going to get certified early. And I think the other part about this is, man, if you've got interest in getting certified, you'd like to talk with Sese, hit the link in the description, check the bio, come visit our website, submit one of the contact forms. Again, we can get in touch. We can actually hook you up, especially if you're one of our current clients, or if you've never worked with us before, that's okay. You want to get hooked up with Sese and Provincia Government Solutions, come talk with us. We can get you on the calendar and things like that. And again, what I will tell you is this: I know when it comes, as soon as they're able to do the certification, these guys are going to be busy. You're like, what, number 12 in the world? Is that it? Or
yeah,
pretty close?
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're right there in that. There's very few third-party certified assessment organizations, and the ones that are certified, we're going to be pretty busy. So we're going to be happily busy, but we want to make sure, of course, we get all the on-call compliant, on-call computers clients available, and we get them assessed.
Yeah, 100%. So again, that's another cool thing. So again, if you're looking for this stuff, give us a shout. Give Sese a shout. Again, we're going to be taking great care of people. But most importantly, again, understand if you want to be an early adopter, there's just not really very many of these companies. The waiting list is over a year long. I can personally attest to that. And it's a big challenge to really get up there and get this thing done. Mm-hmm. Cool. So another question that we always get asked is, what's going to be the biggest challenge for small to mid-sized businesses who are looking at getting certified and trying to figure this out? I know that there's a lot of scared IT guys out there. There's a lot of sort of frightened sales directors who are like, oh my God, if one of these requirements shows up on one of these contracts, I got to win it. And what's the biggest challenge you see coming down the road as far as people trying to get certified?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge is that companies are terrified by the number of controls, 110 controls that they have to comply with. But there are some technical controls that present more of a challenge than others. But I would say one of the biggest areas that companies have to be aware of is that even though this new version of CMMC version 2.0 is less process driven than the older version of CMMC, the 1.x version, there are still a number of requirements that are based around processes. Having the correct processes in place and being repeatable in how you implement security. Things like configuration management present huge challenges for some smaller companies because they just don't have the folks to be able to support that. So And then things like multi-factor authentication is another area where companies.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big area. Everybody should have it, but sometimes smaller companies struggle with implementing that in a way that's going to be compliant with the requirements.
Yeah. And I know there was some clarification made a year or two ago, if I'm not mistaken, that yes, if the device is going to access controlled unclassified information or CUI, you got to have the multi-factor authentication in front of it to access that information. It's just mandatory.
Exactly.
And it's a smart requirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once you know the password, you're in like Flynn, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So if a company wants to get certified now, what are their options, right? What are the options for getting certified now? Are there any options for getting certified now?
Yeah. Well, the biggest option, we talked a little bit about the timeline before, but the biggest, and I don't know if this is really an option, but I think it's an opportunity, honestly, for most companies. Go through the process of getting ready for the certification once that is released and it's available, especially the early adopter program. Spend the time, work with your organization that maintains your environment, make sure that you're going to meet all those requirements, because you don't want to go through the entire assessment, get to the end, and then fail. I mean, what's the point of doing that, right?
Horrible.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't look good on anybody's books. So, so we're encouraging organizations to spend the time, go through the readiness process, make sure that you have all of those controls implemented so there's no surprises. Spend the time to do the remediation, and then once they've released those, the ability for your company to go through the certification process, you're going to be the first one in line, and you're going to pass on the first time, and you're going to get through it successfully.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place where I know Provincia Government Solutions and On-Call Compliance Solutions are going to be partnering big time to help you guys in the readiness assessments, especially if it's been a few years since you've done your gap analysis to meet the DFARS and NIST requirements. Again, it really makes a lot of sense to get that up-to-date readiness assessment. And I mean, what would you say? Is it time for people to start looking at getting that readiness assessment done?
Yeah, now's the time. Take this as an opportunity to get ready for the CMMC. I know we've been talking about getting ready for the last 2.5 years at this point, but really now that the other shoe is about to drop, and once they release that program, you want to be the first in line to be able to check that box and say that you're fully CMMC certified.
That's right. I know if it's apples to apples, right, and you and I are offering competing services or competing products, and the price is relatively the same, the DoD is going to look at, hey, what's the more secure company to do business with that's high on their decision-making matrix these days?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So another question we always get asked is, if a company wants to get certified now, what are their options right now for getting certified?
Yeah, so their options are going to be look into the process of going through a readiness assessment. Readiness assessments are going to be very helpful to determine really where they have gaps in their environment. What we don't want to happen is we don't want a company to go through the entire assessment process, get to the end, and then find out that they have something that's going to disqualify them from certification. Yeah. So that's the really big thing. While you have the opportunity, while you have the time, while they're finalizing things, use it as an opportunity to go through, do any remediation you need to do in your environment to go through the entire certification process. At the end, successfully go through it in one sweep. It's gonna be less expensive for you as a company, but it's also going to provide a much easier path to certification.
Yeah, and it makes total sense. I mean, I know for a lot of our clients, they've gone through gap analyses and they've gone through all the sort of the hoops we have to jump through for DFARS. But ultimately, it makes a lot of sense, especially if it's been a few years, to have a readiness assessment and to make sure that you're prepared before you go through the actual certification process. Because again, during the certification process, they really can't make any changes, right? I mean, kind of once they start that process, again, we can kind of give them a heads up, but you as an assessor, you're not allowed to actually really suggest any fixes, right? You can tell them what's wrong, but you really can't actually suggest fixes, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We can't offer recommendations. We can't offer remediation assistance or anything like that. We're there to provide the assessment of the organization. Now, if they need to have other work done, then they have to go work inside their organization or maybe with a third party to get that done. But yeah, we have to be pretty objective during our assessments. Yeah,
totally understandable, right? I mean, we got to have a neutral third-party assessment. That's the whole point. The good news is, again, On-Call Compliance Solutions provides all of that, in terms of helping companies to prepare, get ready, and things like that. And again, On-Call and Provincia make a really terrific team in terms of being able to make sure the client is prepared, make sure the company's ready, and then again, when everyone agrees that it's time and that we're going to pass this thing, then we can dive in and really get certified. So a readiness assessment, again, kind of a new stage, prior to getting certified, and definitely something that we recommend as a necessary next step.
Yep.
So cool. Another question that we always get asked is, as an assessor, what are you most excited about when it comes, to helping the defense industrial base? I mean, this is a really cool new thing that's going on.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We're most excited about having the opportunity to work with some of these small and medium-sized businesses, really to level the playing field so that they have the opportunity to go through the assessment process to get the certification, just like any larger company would. Sometimes there's a barrier to entry in some of these certifications where the certification is more expensive than a company can be able to afford, and that may, in some cases, put them in a position where they can't go after certain types of contracts or bids. And we want to try to reduce that as much as possible and give all of these companies that same opportunity. One of the things that we're most passionate about is that we have many years of working with large organizations. We have so much experience that we would like to utilize and use that with some of these smaller organizations so that they can take advantage of that. So you don't have to be a multi-million-dollar company in order to be able to take advantage of the CMMC Level 2 certification. We want that to be available to everyone. So that's one of the reasons why we're working with them and working with On-Call Computers to make sure that we can make that available.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's so cool, I think Sese and I really share a passion for not only helping the underdog to succeed, level that playing field, and really kind of allow small to mid-sized companies to really grow. Again, there's a lot of competition in the marketplace, but again, helping to level that playing field. But then also, and this is one thing I just think is so cool. It's a lot of kind of where we're from is coming from that enterprise environment. Coming from that large, sort of well-oiled machine and being able to see what that looks like, and then being able to carry that knowledge down to the small to mid-sized business that may only have, anywhere from 1 employee to say 5,000 employees, being able to carry that enterprise knowledge down and make it, sort of affordable, and also really carry through that knowledge of how to truly be secure, really protect, the defense industrial base that keeps our country safe, I think is a passion that Sese and I really share. And I think is something that's really kind of brought us together, and it's a pretty cool thing. So I'm excited.
I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So cool, Sese. Really excited to have you on the show today. And again, if you're new to our channel, definitely hit that like button, smash that subscribe button so you can get the latest content we're putting out here. Again, we're trying to help our defense industrial base keep compliant, and we're so excited to have you on the show. Excited to be working with you guys as our assessor of choice. And guys, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you later.